A locket lost to time, a love that defies death itself. Will Evelyn unlock the curse or become another whisper in the fog? The Headless Man in Love, Part 1. The Whispering Fog. They say Blackmore Village was cursed long before the ground was ever marked by tombstones. On fog-thick nights, when the moon hung low and sickly, people whispered about the Headless Man, an old legend. A ghost said to wander the woods, searching for the love that was stolen from him. No one believed the stories anymore, until Evelyn moved into the old Thatcher house. Evelyn was a writer, curious and lonely, who'd inherited the rotting estate from an aunt she never met. The house was swallowed by creeping ivy and surrounded by a forest that seemed to watch, but Evelyn was drawn to it, almost called, like a moth to dying flame. Her first night was restless. The wind howled like it remembered grief. She wandered the creaking halls until she reached the attic, an untouched room with a dusty mirror and an old trunk. She opened the trunk, revealing yellowed letters tied in red ribbon, and a faded portrait of a man in Victorian dress, whose face was scratched out. She shivered. That night, as the grandfather clock struck 3, Evelyn woke to the sound of slow, deliberate footsteps. But no one was in the house. She followed the sound, down the stairs, past the parlor, to the front door. It creaked open on its own. Fog crawled across the ground like living hands. At the edge of the forest stood a tall, dark figure. No face. No head. Evelyn didn't scream. She couldn't. Something inside her whispered, "Don't be afraid." And then the figure turned, as if sensing her, and vanished into the mist. The next morning, Evelyn should have packed her things and left. But she didn't. Instead, she found herself at the attic again, reading the old letters. They were love letters, tender, tragic words from a man named Elias to his beloved Annabel. But something about the way the letters ended felt wrong. "They tore us apart, but I will find you, even if it takes eternity." Evelyn whispered the name, Elias, and somewhere in the distance, the fog stirred. That night, she left her window open, and something climbed through. Part 2. The echo of a promise. The air inside the Thatcher house felt colder, heavier, as if the very walls held their breath. Evelyn woke with a start, heart pounding. Her window was still open, curtains fluttering like ghostly wings. She wasn't alone. In the dim morning light, she caught sight of a shadow at the edge of the room. No face. No head. Just a tall, dark figure she'd seen in the fog. But this time, he was closer. Closer enough that she could see the edges of torn clothing, the broken chains that clinked softly with his movement. Yet, despite the horror, Evelyn felt no fear. Instead, something like sorrow or hope welled up inside her. That afternoon, Evelyn searched through the attic letters for clues. She learned Elias had been a soldier, accused of a terrible crime. He didn't commit a crime that tore him away from Annabel forever. They said he was beheaded as punishment, but his spirit refused to rest, doomed to wander, headless and broken, until he could find Annabel again. But Annabel? No one had ever seen her again after his death. Evelyn's fingers trembled as she folded the last letter. It spoke of a promise of love so powerful it could bind even death. That night, the footsteps returned, slower, softer. A whisper floated through the room, a voice without a mouth. "Annabel," Evelyn whispered back. "Elias?" The figure appeared in the moonlight streaming through the window. His neck nothing but ragged cloth and blood-stained bandages. "I will find you," the voice breathed. "Elias, I'm here," Evelyn said, heart aching with something she didn't understand. He reached out with a hand that was cold as stone, grasping for a love lost across centuries. And as their hands met, the room plunged into darkness. Part 3. The heart beneath the darkness. When Evelyn's fingers touched Elias's icy hand, a sudden warmth spread through her, a flicker of something both terrifying and tender. The darkness around them pulsed like a heartbeat, and for a fleeting moment, she glimpsed a face fragmented, but unmistakably full of pain and longing. "Evelyn," the voice was ragged but gentle. "You're the first to call me by my name in centuries." She swallowed hard. "Why me? Why now?" "Because I feel your heart," he said. "The same loneliness, the same desire to be seen, to be loved." Evelyn's breath caught. How could this headless shadow know her so well? He stepped closer, his ragged coat brushing the floor. "I have searched for Annabel forever, but perhaps you are the one who can help me find peace." A sudden crash echoed through the house. The attic window shattered, sending shards of glass into the cold night air. The fog seeped inside, swirling around Elias like a living thing. "Don't be afraid," he whispered as the fog thickened. "I am bound by this curse, but I still feel love." Evelyn realized then that the Headless Man was no monster. He was a man trapped between worlds, broken by hatred but yearning for redemption. Her heart ached for him, and something inside her cracked open. "Tell me what I must do," she pleaded. "Bring me the locket," he said, his voice fading. "The locket Annabelle wore, the last thing she touched before I was taken. It holds the key to my freedom." The fog began to pull him away, back into the night. "Wait!" Evelyn shouted. "Where is it?" "In the garden," he whispered before vanishing into the cold mist. Evelyn's breath came fast as she ran outside into the moonlit garden, heart pounding not with fear, but with a strange hope. She didn't know if she was chasing a ghost or saving a soul. Part 4. The Garden of Shadows. The garden was a tangle of thorny vines and forgotten flowers, draped in moonlight and shrouded in mist. Evelyn's hands trembled as she pushed past the brambles, searching the cold earth for the locket Elias had spoken of. Her fingers brushed something cold and metal beneath a gnarled rosebush. She pulled it free, a small, tarnished silver locket, etched with delicate initials, A. As she opened it, a faint glow pulsed from within, casting a pale light on the night. A voice echoed softly in her mind, a woman's voice, fragile yet full of sorrow. "Elias, forgive me." Evelyn clutched the locket to her chest. Suddenly, the fog swirled violently, and the Headless Man appeared beside her, more solid than before, though his face remained a shadowed void. "This is hers," he said, voice thick with emotion. "With it, I can be free." Tears welled in Evelyn's eyes. "How? What do I need to do?" "Place the locket where our love began," Elias whispered, "beneath the old willow tree by the river." Together, they moved through the night, Evelyn leading the way. The willow's long branches brushed the water's surface, hiding secrets beneath its boughs. Elias knelt, the fog curling like smoke around him. Evelyn watched, breath held, as he pressed the locket into the soft earth. A sudden tremor shook the ground. The fog lifted, revealing a face soft, pale, and beautiful hovering in the mist. "Annabelle?" Evelyn gasped. The apparition smiled sadly. "Thank you for bringing me home." Elias reached out, fingers trembling, and for the first time in centuries, his headless form began to change. Flesh knitted where there was once emptiness, eyes met eyes, and love reunited. But as dawn's first light crept across the sky, a shadow darker than night twisted beneath the willow, a presence that whispered, "Not all curses end in love." Part 5. The Last Breath of Love. As dawn's pale fingers brushed the horizon, the willow tree shimmered with an otherworldly light. Elias's head, once a void of darkness, was now whole, his eyes filled with gratitude and endless sorrow. Annabelle's spirit lingered beside him, a gentle glow in the morning mist. Evelyn stepped back, heart pounding. She thought the nightmare was over, but the ground beneath them cracked, and from the shadows emerged a figure darker than night itself, an ancient force of vengeance, the true keeper of the curse. "You dare undo my work?" it hissed, its voice like the rustling of dead leaves. Elias stepped forward, trembling but unbroken. "Love is stronger than your hatred." The shadow lunged. Evelyn screamed, but before it could reach her, Elias threw himself between them, shielding her with his own broken body. Light exploded from the locket buried beneath the willow, engulfing the shadow in flames of pure love and forgiveness. The dark figure wailed and dissolved into nothingness. Elias looked at Evelyn, his voice barely a whisper. "Thank you for saving me." Tears streamed down Evelyn's face. "I think I love you." For a moment, time stopped, and then Elias vanished, his spirit finally free to rest, leaving behind the warmth of a love that transcended death. Evelyn stood beneath the willow, clutching the locket close. The fog had lifted, the curse was broken, but in the quiet breeze, she heard a soft whisper, one last promise. "I will always love you." Some loves refuse to die, even when the head that carried them is lost forever. In Blackmore Village, the story of the Headless Man in love became legend once more, one of heartbreak, hope, and a love that even death could not sever.